Barry Manilow. Barry Manilow. Barry.
Correct. Please check your number and dial again or call your operator for assistance.
Barry Manilow.
Hi, Rob. It's Christopher Soulos and Phil Muscatello. We're just wondering if we're waiting for you so we can order from the chef.
We're looking for a bit of Manilow in our lives.
We're looking for a bit of Manilow in our lives. We're here waiting.
We're fanilows.
Cheers. Bye. Well, I gave a rating as Christopher Soulos on iTunes.
Oh, was that you rating us?
Well, I figured someone better.
So you were new regime maker, were you?
That's me. That's me.
Because what I was going to say is...
That's me.
Thank you to new regime maker, who said, I have big ears. This podcast fills them elegantly. In which case, we wish to apologise for this episode.
Barry Manilow. Is this shirt slimming? Presented by Christopher Soulos, Robert Barnhill, Philip Muscatello. The highs, the lows, the triumphs, the invigilators, the laughter, the tears. Is this shirt slimming? I guess it must be a podcast. Oops.
Where's Rob? Oh, well, I can't see the stuff. Hang on, I think Rob's... Did you hear those funny noises?
Yeah, I did.
Is Rob trying to get in? Is Rob trying to get in?
Oh,
there it is.
There he is.
Yay.
We'd lost all hope.
Robber.
Recording. 1,
Okay.
2, 3.
Excellent. Great.
We're good. We're good to go.
Hello, boys.
Is This Shirt Slimming is live. No, hang on. In the tradition of Slade.
We're alive.
First of all, I just need to ask, did you get a news story together, Rob?
You mean apart from the obvious, Phil?
What's the obvious?
The obvious Phil.
Good question, Phil. Thanks for that question.
I'll find something.
Hold on.
While this program's going.
I think we've started,
I did-
ladies and gentlemen. Please welcome this
did
edition.
suggest.
This edition of
I hope-
Is This Shirt Slimming?
Sorry, Phil. After you.
No, it's okay. We've done it now. We've introduced the program. We're here now.
Which leads to the obvious, doesn't it? When are we getting Daryl Summers on?
Oh, is he still alive?
Yep. And he's still extra nice.
Isn't he Greek?
He's a hell of a nice guy, and what a great drummer.
We have some listeners in England and the United States, and it's about time they heard about Daryl Summers.
Can I interrupt?
Can you interrupt? Whoever asks, does that make sense?
No, it's just a warning because I am going to interrupt. I brought 3 massive topics tonight, starting with the biggest. Barry Manilow.
The bigots.
The biggest topic tonight, Barry Manilow. Not a lot become bigger than Barry Manilow. And Frank Sinatra once said something similar. And next, I bought Jimmy Somerville. Next, I bought Let's Nominate the Height of Every Artist we talk about.
Oh, okay. We're going to guess and then look it up.
Well, that's right. But we should spreadsheet it.
I think everything should be spreadsheeted and put up on our website, which is...
slimmingly.com. No,
slimmingly.strikingly.com. In breaking news this week, before we get into the Manilow segment...
Why? Who's died?
Gangnam Style is no longer the most streamed video on YouTube.
That's yesterday's.
I know it's yesterday's news.
No,
I know it's last week's news. But
everything is.
I know. It's all last week's news. But this is why I asked you chaps to have a look at those videos, because both of those videos...
I know, because one of them's...
I did watch them. They were horrible. Go on. Yeah.
Okay, well, just to let you know that Gangnam Style was streamed...
They were horrible, Chris. I agree with you.
Gangnam Style was streamed a total of 2,894,426,475 times.
I was 500 of those.
What? Well, I've got bigger news than that.
Hang on, no, can we just finish this? Can we just finish this story? Because there's a lot of interesting information here. It's been overtaken by Wiz Khalifa and Charlie. I'm not even sure how to pronounce it. Charlie Puth.
Hold on, you said
Puth.
You said interesting information.
Charlie Puth. See you again.
Puth. I think Puth.
Which has been streamed 2,895,373,709 times, thus beating Gangnam Style. But
how come?
Well, because there's been a population.
But adding it up,
increase.
I just want to put this in
But Gangnam
perspective.
Style was a phenomenon,
Yeah,
and those two aren't phenomenons. They're just good-looking boys with a reasonable tune.
and so I guess Gangnam Style was a
In
phenomenon.
today's-
You know, it was such a phenomenon.
was.
I was talking.
What was that,
It
Phil?
was such a phenomenon when Brett and I were in my
Is it a non-phenomenon?
in my other life as a DJ. We both said, "What's this Gangnam Style song?" Because people in the audience were doing the little dance like this at us, and we're going, "What?" We had no idea about the song.
I can't see Banksy Moon doing either of these new tunes.
Ban Ki-moon.
Yeah, he did Gangnam Style. I saw it.
Yeah, but he's not going to do. And the other song we're talking about is Despacito, and not the Justin Timberlake version of Despacito, I might add.
Oh, is this the one by the Eagles?
It's the original Puerto Rican version, which is the one. But interestingly, can I just put a couple of facts here before you?
Yeah, I love facts.
You keep putting the word interestingly in.
If you were to view any of those videos consecutively, you would have had to start watching at the peak of the last ice age to get through them all in that time.
Hang on, hang on.
Interesting fact.
Wow, that's
I think you're a little loose with the word interesting, Phil.
we're having an ice age up here.
This is an
tonight.
even more interesting fact, is that out of that 2 billion something plays of the Charlie Puth and Wiz Khalifa song, do you know how much they would have made? Just take a guess. I mean, what sort of figure do you think? No,
on Spotify, on Spotify.
on YouTube.
Couple of hundred.
Oh no, it's a bit higher than that. About $3 million. $3 million US.
Is that how it works?
What are we doing this for? Let's make a video.
That's how it works. But Spotify actually pays a bit more. YouTube pays 0.001 cent per stream, but Spotify, I think it's 0.05. In fact, I was talking with this. I was on the bus yesterday and ran into Sebastian Chase from MGM Records, and was talking to him, and it was distributed. Yeah, because they're
Does it
distributors.
sound like a true...
No, it is a true story. It is a true story. And I said, well, how much do you make out of Spotify? And he said, 1 million streams makes $5,000. The game these days to make money in the music industry is to get onto a Spotify playlist. Mm-hmm. So, gentle guitar afternoon.
I've got inappropriate wedding songs.
And we've also got the Spotify Is This Shirt Slimming playlists, which we put up on the website each episode as well, that we can that people can delve into our minds, musically speaking. But speaking of downloads, can I just say that we have actually cracked the 100 downloads mark.
Good on you, Phil. Good on you, Rob. Well done.
I was actually quite surprised. It's beyond our wildest dreams.
I'm looking forward to hearing it.
I was expecting to hit the high teens or something, but
Well, I was hoping the introduction of our new presenter would increase the figures, but they haven't gone through the roof just yet.
Give me time. Can I order that new Jaguar F-Pace now?
Have you forgotten where you left the rolls?
I think you can order that new Hyundai. I think it's about time you got that Hyundai. I mean, we're talking 100 downloads here, 100 downloads, but that's pretty good. I'm pretty happy. But I think now that the Slimmingly team are about to move out of their comfort zone, because we're going to be talking about Manilow.
Uncomfortable things? Oh.
Have you heard the term fanilows? Fans of Barry Manilow?
Yes, of course. Of course. What else
I've
could it
become a
be?
fanilow. I've got to say, I like the guy a lot better after doing a lot of research into him, because...
Can I just give you a little bit of triv about Barry before you go on, Phil?
Yep, of course.
He didn't write I Write the Songs. That's all I want to say.
Who wrote that song, Chris?
Bruce Johnston.
And which famous band? And which famous band did he work with? Oh. Robert?
I can't remember.
The Beach Boys, Phil.
The Beach Boys, Chris.
He's been in the Beach Boys since 1966.
Was he the piano player for the Rolling Stones?
No, that was Nicky Hopkins or Billy Preston.
Not to diss the Rolling Stones, but we're talking about Manilow tonight.
Have we finished with Barry yet? Oh.
Okay, please, Phil. What?
M-A-N...
Manilow.
Just an interesting segue here.
He's come out as a Slade fan too.
Moving from the Rolling Stones to Rolling Stone magazine, Rolling Stone magazine has called him
The greatest showman of our generation.
Haven't they seen Hugh Jackman?
Thorpe.
Haven't they seen Glenn Shorrock?
Now, Christopher, you know someone who's actually worked with Manilow, don't you?
I do. Bass player called Leon Gayer, who moved to
Barry was
Australia
in the
many years
Spa.
ago. He was Barry's bass player, and I've had the pleasure of. Well, I went to Leon's place for some lessons, and years ago, because he arrived in Australia, and he's.
Just lie on his back and his nose was there like a giant shark fin. I think it's time to lose the all-weather gear. Oh, it's hot. Barry in a spa.
Like a giant chocolate
You know, he's
machine.
won a lot of.
And
He's won a lot of Emmys. He's won a lot of Emmy awards, but never for a show
I can't go
called
on.
Barry in a spa. You going, Phil? You were saying, Phil?
Did your parents scar you for life in the worst possible way? Are you missing out on all the pleasure possible? Then call the Dapto Foreskin Restoration Clinic and ask about our revolutionary foreskin restoration techniques. It's time to act. Become intact. Our system of weights and the patented tugging techniques will leave you the way God intended, restoring valuable erogenous tissue. The Dapto Foreskin Restoration Clinic, putting the dangle in your wangle.
Chris was saying he was talking about the
Phil wasn't saying anything.
about the bass player to Barry.
Phil wasn't saying anything. Yeah, so Leon was this struggling bass player who developed this thing about bass and synthesizers back in the days when synthesizers were big heavy objects, right? And so he decided on a rainy night whether he should go and take his gear to do the baked potato or not. And he decided, stuff it, I'll take it all, see what happens. I may as well plug it in and keep the stuff working. So he plugged it in, and in the audience was these Ross Vanelli was in the audience, and Ross asked Leon to come and do a session. Leon was unknown at the time. Leon did the session for his brother Gino's album, Gino Vanelli, and Gino Vanelli is the
Oh, he was great.
yeah, well that's the umbrella name for the whole Vanelli family, and Leon was the bass player on the Brother to Brother album, and I think it was from there.
It was a great record.
It's a phenomenal record. And Gino Vanelli is touring again, and it sounds even better than it did when it still sounded good in its day.
So with Gino Vanelli
anyway,
touring, would Millie Vanilli consider touring with support?
It's only Vanilli. There's no Millie. Millie's dead. Didn't one of them top
I
themselves?
think they might have.
Yeah, one of them did. Yeah. And that was all sung by one guy, wasn't it? The whole thing.
I'm a bit lost. I'm a bit lost here, Chris.
Yeah, what I was trying.
You were talking about baked potatoes.
Correct. Yeah.
What is the baked potato, and what was he doing with a synth and a bass?
Okay, so Leon was. That's the whole point. So the baked potato is a little venue in LA. It's a tiny thing. It's like a shop front, right? And it plays for 6 months of the year. The most famous musicians in LA, the top session players, play there for the door. So they might take $25 or $50 home, right? And so Leon was booked to play all night. So one thing led to another, and from that amazing album that Rob knows and I know it so well, Leon went on to become a bass superstar and ended up playing with Barry Manilow. And he's living in Australia, and he was teaching lessons. He was giving lessons from his place, his home studio. And I went along, and he asked me to stay back after everyone left. and we cracked open a bottle of vodka. I'd only just met him. Beautiful, sociable guy. He said, "Oh, I know you. You played with some people." And then he started telling me, he said, it was always good working with Barry. He was just a consummate gentleman.
This is what I meant. The research I've done, despite the fact that we all diss Barry.
No, we don't.
Well, Daft Punk like him.
Yeah, he gets a lot of bad press from people. People sort of think he's too saccharine, too schmaltzy and everything. I have to admit at this point, before I became a DJ, I was a musical snob. I was a real snob about music. Music had to be, very much.
Really?
It wasn't until...
you of all people? I wouldn't call...
I think he's going to come out as a Nick Cave fan any minute now.
But then having to be a DJ and having to actually play songs that people liked meant that I sort of had to reconsider my view of music. And as a DJ, of course, your music is like tools in a toolbox. You take out which tool, for your particular time of the night.
Are you just about to tell us you've done a deal with the devil?
No, but I think I have now. I feel like I should have.
Oh.
Well, see, a DJ, or for a DJ, every song is a nail because a DJ is a hammer.
I haven't thought about it that way, but I will now from now on. So, which is why it's made me. It's been good to think about Barry Manilow and to have a rethink about the position because people give Barry a hard time. People do, Rob. I know they do. But in fact, Barry Manilow likes to tell jokes about himself.
Have you got one?
And this is one of his favourites.
Here we go.
And this is in the We Are the World days. And a record company executive goes to the Ethiopian embassy to inform them that a group of pop stars from the West are getting together to make a benefit record for the starving. He reads out the names: Michael Jackson, David Bowie, Bruce Springsteen, Barry Manilow. The Ethiopian official interrupts. Manilow, we're not that hungry. So that's Barry Manilow's favourite joke about himself.
Oh, dear.
So,
boom, boom.
Like, Chris and I have been doing a lot of talking, but Rob, it was you that first brought up the topic of Manilow because you are a fanilow.
Well.
Come on. You're on the spot now.
Not sure. In my defence.
No one's attacking you.
In my defence, every now and then I play a couple of Barry tunes. Not many.
Which ones are your favourites?
The odd one.
Well, mine's Copa. Mine's the Copa.
It's a great song, the Copa.
There's a new acoustic version of it, and it's beautiful.
That's interesting. That you should call the new version acoustic back when the original one was pre-synthesizer anyway.
Oh yeah, but it was showy. This one's just...
It's unplugged, is it?
It's
unplugged-a-low.
Oh.
And this all started when I was teasing the boys at work by playing them Jimmy Somerville. Beat that perfect meat, Chris. Beat boy, beat that perfect meat boy, beat boy.
Is that what he says?
No. That's...
How tall is Barry Manilow?
He's 6 foot, exactly.
Really?
He's already on the
good stuff.
he's already on the slimmingly height register.
Is this shirt slimming? We gladly feast on the future to nourish the past.
Do you know how Barry Manilow's career started?
Was he like Carole King? Was he part of that scene?
No.
A young
No.
in that.
No, he wasn't part of that scene.
Was he a Bette Midler impersonator?
Why do you say that?
Because I'm reading my notes here, and he produced records for Bette. Actually, he produced the first two big ones, didn't he?
He produced and musical directed The Divine Miss M.
The Divine Miss M.
Seriously?
Right.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
But even
Get
before,
out of here.
but hang on, let's go back before that, when he was a jingle writer, where he wrote.
It's real work.
He's got a Band-Aid ad, which is still on air to this day. I am stuck on Band-Aid because Band-Aids stick on me.
I am stuck on Band-Aid brand because Band-Aid stuck on me.
There was a lot of jingles, but originally he was playing piano and musical director for Bette Midler when she was still doing the bathhouses in New York. And if you have a look online, there's a fantastic video, Bette Midler, at the Continental Baths concert in 1971 with Barry in the background. Yeah, it's
Wow.
great viewing. And then when they went on tour, he insisted that he had to sing as well. And she really, had a hissy fit about it, but realised that she didn't want to get rid of her musical director over this, and so he ended up supporting her as well.
I recall Barry Manilow collecting a Grammy Award. He picked up a Grammy Award, 72 or 73, and I remember the speech, not word for word, but some of it. He got up and he picked up the award for Record of the Year or Artist of the Year or something, and he said, look, this is great, and I thank everybody, but really, the future of music is Billy Joel.
Please stand by for an awkward silence.
You completely and utterly dropped out.
Yeah, you just dropped out then, sorry. Just repeat what you just said.
Oh, I thought you two were flawed.
Well, I'm certainly not perfect.
Yeah, FLAWED.
Yeah, he said he thanked everybody for the award. He thanked the Academy. He thanked God. He thanked everybody, and then he said, "But the future of music is Billy Joel."
Actually, this is another thing I was going to bring up about my musical snobbery. No, but he's got a point there about the musical snobbery, as everyone gives the Billy Joel audience a hard time because they're listening to the songs from the 70s over and over again, reliving their youth, and Billy Joel just plays the old music, has never changed from that. And for some reason it's seen to be unacceptable that people actually like and going to see music that they grew up with, if it's Billy Joel.
Well, Billy Joel, he had a heavy metal band before he became Billy Joel.
I do.
As you do.
Seriously, you know about that, don't you?
Have you? I know about that. Have you seen the cover of the album?
Yes, I've got a copy of it.
Really?
And the thing is, the thing that I found interesting, I looked it up because it was panned by critics, and I put it on and went, this is freaking great. Like,
Was it?
It's hard rock. Yeah, he's hard rock organ band. And he was in love with, I think...
Hard organ rock band.
Yeah. So, and there was some weird story where
Hard thrusting.
look, this is going to be an edit point because I've got to look up this story because that story of that band is so bizarre.
Okay,
Billy Joel
get that story.
Yeah,
Get
yeah,
that
yeah,
story
yeah.
up. Get that story up, white boy. What was this about? It's a Billy Joel's heavy metal band. What were they called?
Yeah, what were they called? That's
The
a
hard
good
rock
question. I have to
organists.
look that-
The hard
Yeah,
organists.
no,
rock.
Actually, now I've got to look that up because I've got the story up, but it doesn't say.
Something like Avion or something.
I think you're right. Let me look it up.
No, it's not. I don't think it's that.
Edit points. Attila was the band. They had a band. Billy Joel did an album in the 70s. Band was called Attila, with tracks on it like Wonder Woman, California Flash, Revenge is Sweet, Amplifier Fire, Rollin' Home, Tear the
Billy's
Castles
wearing
Down.
fur
Yeah,
in the shot, and they're in a butcher cool room.
look like Italian Vikings.
Part-time butcher.
So this was in his 20s. He fell in love with the other. There was two guys in the band, the drummer and Billy. Billy was the singer. And he fell in love with the drummer's wife, and it was never going to be consummated. So he decided he would drink furniture polish instead of bleach because he thought it might taste better, and it failed. And anyway, when the album came out, the album failed and the romance ended. He's looking for poison in his mother's closet, and he could find bleach, but and it had the skull and crossbones on it, so he didn't think that was a good idea. So he had a whiff of the furniture polish and decided to do it that way. He just ended up farting furniture polish for days.
The All Music review by Stephen Thomas Erlewine
Yeah.
says Attila undoubtedly is the worst album released in the history of rock and roll.
But it's not.
Oh, come on.
It's not.
That's a big call. That's a big call.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's a pretty big call. I've heard some Nick Cave records.
Look, it's because they heard. See, that's retrospective because they heard all that beautiful stuff that he wrote later on. But man, the guy's hilarious, and obviously he was a twisted nutcase in his early 20s. He was a boxer as well. He would have been full of testosterone, beyond what any normal man could stand.
He was short. I haven't looked him up yet.
No, he is short. Yeah, I don't think he's any taller than Elton John.
Do you remember Christy Brinkley's next husband.
For those who don't remember, Christy Brinkley was married to Billy Joel. She was a supermodel of the time, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was a 6
Supermodel.
foot. Yeah.
Yeah, on a tax return, she'd listed a job as supermodel.
Ultramodel.
He was a millionaire businessman in New York, and they broke up because he was addicted to porn.
Oh, what?
Totally addicted to porn. Totally. He spent all day and hundreds of thousands of dollars.
But he was married to one of the world's most beautiful women.
Is this shirt slimming?
Isn't that bizarre?
Does my bum look big in this?
It's bizarre.
Will this hat sit neatly on my strangely shaped head?
Billy Joel is 1.6 metres.
1.6 metres? Was it 4 foot?
That's what it says. He's 5'5".
Elton John's about the same.
There's a site called Celebrity Heights. Oh, my goodness. This is great.
Bob Dylan
Sorry.
was at a party at Burt Bacharach's place. Okay, but I just want to go through this because...
I'll be quiet.
Barry Manilow was at a party
Great story.
at Burt Bacharach's place, and Bob Dylan came up and hugged him. And he said to him, "Don't stop what you're doing, man. We're all inspired by you." And of course, Barry freaked out at this. He thought that Bob was taking the mickey out of him, or was, being cynical and so forth. And he worried about this for 3 years until he went to a Passover party at Carol Bayosager's place. Bob and Barry started chatting again, and Barry said to Bob, "What are you doing?" And Bob said, "Oh, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just doing another bunch of songs." Whereas Manilow said, "Hey, Bob, don't worry about it. You just keep writing those songs." And then Bob said to him, "No, Barry, it's different for you because you keep doing those concept albums."
Concept album.
But that's an actual quote. Bob Dylan considers Manilow, and obviously Bob Dylan is a fanilow as well, considers them concept albums.
That's amazing.
Incredible.
That is truly amazing.
Oh, hold on a minute. Hold on. We have a guest star. Come here.
SOPHREPORT.
Quickly.
Hi.
Come here.
Hey, Sophie.
Say goodnight,
Sophie.
boys.
I just
Good night,
wanted to know,
boys.
what do you think of
Yeah.
that Khalifa record?
Yep.
That's how you pronounce it? Yeah, is that how you pronounce it? How do you pronounce it?
Yeah, that one.
Oh, I like that song.
Not Charlie
Yeah.
Puth.
I don't know. I think it's Charlie Puth or something.
Like someone who's got a lisp and a leaky wound
I
and a lot of puff.
SOPHREPORT.
Hold on. You ready? We're going to do the photo pose. Ready? Night, darling.
Bye. Good night.
Night.
It's been great seeing you again. That's my flatmate.
Short on rent this week.
Yeah, see you.
What was this?
Yeah, we cut you out. Don't worry. Oh, hold on a minute. Hold on. Stop the press. Guess how tall Daryl Hall is?
Daryl Hall, 5'11".
Close. If you'd said 5'13", you'd be spot on.
I would never say that, but yeah, go on.
Hey, Rob, have we got another Manilow moment coming up?
No, I'm gonna bank it up. I'm gonna keep it.
You're going to keep your Manilow moment? Are we going to end the episode on a cliffhanger?
Cliffhanger. Yes.
Okay.
And we could next week merge the conversation about Barry. Actually, we could talk about musicians called Barry.
Yeah. There's only a couple.
Oh, Barry Gibb.
That's it. Barry White. Barry White. That's right.
Barry White. Good on you, Chris.
No worries.
From now on, we're only going to be covering musicians named Barry, or artists formerly known as Barry.
Anybody called Barry in the Beatles? No. Barry Mann.
Was he related to Cynthia
Wheel and Barry Mann. Did you have a listen to that podcast that I sent you, Chris? Cynthia Mann and Barry Wheel. Rob, you have to have a listen to it. I'll send you a link as well. It's fantastic. The story from that interview It was about when they were recording You've Lost That Loving Feeling, or writing You've Lost That Loving Feeling, Phil Spector. And they're playing it for the Righteous Brothers to say, here, this is going to be a great song, this is going to be a hit. Bill Medley thought it was okay, but Bobby Hatfield was saying, well, what am I supposed to do? I'm just doing baby, baby, baby. And Phil Spector said to him, you know what you can do? You can go to the bank.
You've been listening to Is This Shirt Slimming? Brought to you by the Dapto Foreskin Restoration Clinic. Time to act. Become intact.